Episode 4014, More to Life Than Screen Time.
Moms, it's time to rediscover, rejuvenate, and renew who you are in mind, body, and spirit. Welcome to Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie, the show to help you do just that. Here's your host, certified life coach, personal trainer, and nutritionist, Christiane Wargo.
Happy day. It's Friday. Woohoo. Okay, I still don't have a voice. I'm so sorry, but not really, because why? I get to spend it with you. And we're going to be talking all about some screen time. Are you ready for this? Come on, parents. It's Confession Day. More to life than screen time. For those of you who are brand new to Create Your Now, welcome to this incredible family. I'm so delighted of your presence. If you already haven't had the opportunity, you want to head on over to createyournow.com, where you can learn more and to sign up for the Kisses newsletter. The Keep It Simple strategy, everyday solutions to live, love, and impact. This episode is brought to you by AIM, Inspiring Connection and Community. All right, so we're in for a big one, and I want to give you a little bit of guidance before we dive in. Maybe your kids are older, maybe they're younger, or maybe you're like, I really don't care what they're doing. I want you to listen to this whole conversation that we're having here and saying even to yourself, how can this impact me? Because as a parent, as a grandparent, for me, for you, fill in the blank, what are you? Maybe you're a mentor, a coach to kids. I mean, you could be a football coach to kids. You could be a dancing coach to children, right? You play different roles in children's lives. And I think it's important because of what's happening in the world today that we are paying attention to our children and what they are becoming attached to. Because quite frankly, it's Confession Day, remember this, okay? Kids glued to screens more than they engage in real conversations truly is a crisis disguised as convenience. And with the rise of technology, including computers and phones, the natural order has been flipped upside down, leaving a generation increasingly ill-equipped to navigate the human connections that truly matter. There's more to life than screen time. But for whatever reason, we think that, we got to have it. And I'm talking all of us, parents included, grandparents too, aunties and uncles, all of us. But this whole episode today isn't just a gripe about kids and screens. It's not. It's really to dig deeper into the quality and depth of human connection that they're missing out on and that we're missing out on. Because when children spend hours navigating virtual worlds, you wear those glasses and they take you. Yeah, no, I can't do that very well, by the way. I tried that years ago when they kind of first came out. My boys got it and they just thought, number one, mom was crazy silly when she did it. And I did something very silly. I don't know. I was like using something to cut things in half. Oh, maybe it was fruit or something like that. Anyway, I tried it, right? But it really wasn't that fun, honestly. I don't see how people can spend hours upon hours doing that, but people do. Okay, but we're not here to judge. We're just full out Confession Day. So when we got our kids navigating the virtual world scrolls, right? Scrolling their feeds, tapping out text as fast as they can, they're not just passing time. They're trading away opportunities to develop this very skills that make us human. Real conversations, face to face, voice to voice. And those real conversations build empathy. It builds awareness, social awareness, and critical thinking in ways screens simply can't replicate. AI might be great, but AI doesn't have a heart. AI doesn't have a soul. And I'm not going to get on that bandwagon because I know we could go down that road. But what I do want to discuss is that we need to see these interactions. Are our kids spending more time on the screens, or are they really learning these interactions of communication and conversations that teach our kids how to read emotions, respond thoughtfully, and build trust? When you talk to your kiddos, do you look at them eye to eye? Like, seriously. That's one thing I've always done. Kids, grandbabies, if I'm having a conversation with someone, even if it's online, I better be present enough to be able to look through the camera as if I'm looking directly at them. It is that important. You have to make the connection. But our kids now, and I know I've experienced it, the last thing they want to do is make a connection. They will text somebody before they pick up the phone and call. They will stick to whatever they had scheduled because I don't want to have to call someone. I don't want to have a conversation with them. I mean, seriously. It almost comes across like it's poison. Okay, we need to take this seriously, mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, auntie, uncles, coaches. Come on. What's at stake is far more than just screen time limits. All right, this isn't just about saying, I'm going to set boundaries here. I want guardrails on my kiddos. I'm not saying that. It's important. But it's truly about the foundation of how our kids will relate to family and friends and colleagues and even themselves as they grow. We got to have some emotional regulation. And we don't. Because a computer, a phone, a text message, an emoji, social media feeds, DMs, none of that gives us anything when it comes to life skills. When it comes to knowing how to have a conversation. For goodness sakes, most kids, when they text, they don't even use punctuation. I have to brag on my kids for just a moment. They use punctuation. I'm so blessed that they at least do that. Drives me crazy when I get all these run-ons. Now, I will say this, if they're speak texting when they're driving, because that happens, I even do it. They don't dictate where they say period or exclamation point or question mark. So that's where it's kind of like a run on everything. But otherwise, they're really good at it. And I appreciate that. I'm like, okay, maybe they did take one thing. But I'm here to tell you, my kids aren't perfect either. They would much rather text or send an email before they pick up the phone and talk to someone. This is our wake-up call. This is your wake-up call to step in and create environments where human interaction beats screen time, not just for discipline, but for survival in an increasingly isolated digital age. Now, I'm here to remind you, technology is not going away. So we've got to be able to embrace it, but we can't lose our humanism, so to speak, because of technology. Research isn't shy about the consequences when it comes to screens. It isn't. A study published in JAMA Pediatrics found that adolescents who spent more than 3 hours per day on electronic devices were at a significantly higher risk of experiencing mental health problems, including anxiety and depression. Any of your kids experience that? Maybe you experience that. Meanwhile, a decline in face-to-face interactions directly impacts their ability to develop empathy, emotional intelligence, and the confidence required for real-world communication. And that's just one little study. A report from Pew Research Center showed that teens today are far less interested in talking on the phone, with 73% of them admitting they prefer texting or social media messaging. Not real good, I'm just saying. This avoidance of direct verbal communication has a real world cost. College professors are already reporting students struggling with oral presentations and conversations. And employers note a deficit in interpersonal skills essential for career success. We don't know how to speak. And if we speak, we ramble. We can't formulate our thoughts because when they text, they're not even using punctuation. When texting becomes the go-to mode of communication, kids avoid the nuance of tone, timing, and body language. These aren't just soft skills. They're foundational to building trust, negotiating conflicts, and forming meaningful relationships. Mom, wake up. It's time to intervene with a pattern interrupt. That is your Kids to Keep It Simple strategy. Intervene with a pattern interrupt. That means you're not letting your children do whatever they want or even self-regulate. You need to be watchful. You need to guide them as they grow. We have these hard conversations here. That's why I call them confessions. Because let me tell you, I know I want my children, I want my grandbabies, I want my nieces and nephews. Like I want anybody down in my line from generations to come to be able to have conversation and not just spit out half sentences, half truths, more lies. We don't even know what's going on because I don't care what emoji you think expresses something, you don't know what it really means. When was the last time you looked at your spouse's eyes? Seriously, be honest. If you're married, if you're dating, like who you really love, when was the last time you actually looked directly in their eyes to have a conversation? Because I will say, probably 75% of the time when we have conversations, we're not looking at each other, including us as adults and parents. We're not. We're doing it in passing. We're sitting at the dinner table, but we're doing something else. We're cooking, in the kitchen, and hubby might be somewhere else, or maybe hubby's in the kitchen and you're somewhere else, whatever it is. And so there's no direct eye-to-eye contact anymore. And then you wonder as your kids get older and they move out and they come to you and say, I don't know how I'm going to talk to my boss. Well, you go in there and have a conversation. Never done that before. Or when they're in college, they're like, how do I express myself? And then the ones that always want to be by themselves. They can't handle things emotionally. There's no emotional regulation. We don't know how to handle our emotions because everything is a stick, a shape, but there's no heart. You got to intervene with a pattern interrupt. And let me also remind you, you've got older kiddos, and as they move out and they come back to visit, let me just say this. It's confession day. I'm leaving it all out on the table for you. You can still model what needs to happen in human connections and interactions, meaning don't let the telephones come to the table. I mean, I remember when we had the telephone on the wall, we had that long cord, but never were we allowed to take that phone and sit there and eat and have a phone attached to us and eat. Do you know how crazy and silly that would be? Maybe that's something you could try in your family and say, well, this is how, grandma used to do it. If you're young enough and you didn't ever do that, then blame it on grandma. I'll take it. Or I was listening to this gal called Christiane, and well, she said, try this. Get an old-fashioned phone with a long phone cord. I'm sure you can find it at some thrift store somewhere. Get it and have them hold it the whole time. Number one, they'll probably think it's really crazy. But that's what they're doing. And they're shutting everything out. We've got to bring the human connection back. We've got to see that there's a heart behind who we're speaking to. Because most of the time we're just yelling. We yell in a text. We yell in a voicemail. And even a voicemail, they don't even know what to do. They quickly say their phone number and call me back. It's like 3 words. And all these acronyms, and I cannot keep track of all the acronyms, like, TMI, at least I know that one. But IDK, I remember when IDK came out, and that was a long time ago. But when it started to become popular to shorten everything, why? Spell it out. Maybe that's something you can tell your kiddos to do. You want to text me? Spell it out. IDK means something else in another language somewhere else. If you're a coder, you work in the hospital, law school, right? All these different areas, all these different acronyms, they could be anything. You really don't know what's being said. And what if there's a mishap on the computer and they hit not IDK for I don't know, but they hit IDF, I don't know. Maybe you could figure out what that means. And there's so many others. So what can we do as parents? What does it look like in the real world for us? Is there hope? Yes, there's hope. Of course there is. I wouldn't be on here talking to you if I didn't say there was hope. There's hope. First off, it starts with you, okay? So number one, though, that's just a bonus one. But the real number one is this. Establish structure screen-free times and zones. That's hard to say. In other words, put down anything that's electronic and walk away. Go outside. Go play in the dirt. Go plant some beautiful bulbs. Go plant a tree. Go serve in your community. Don't just vaguely ask kids to use screens less. Get specific. If you have to, ban the devices during meals, before bedtime, and during important family moments. Now, I get it if your kids are traveling, keep your phone on you at all times. Okay, that's a big exception to the rule. I'm talking about every single day conversations, things that are happening where you have somewhat of a control with them. You're taking them to school, picking them up, you know where they're coming and going, that type of thing. But when they're within your own walls and you know what's going on and they're safe, put the daggum devices away. This creates guaranteed pockets of what? Human connection. Research in developmental psychology confirms that family dinners without screens boost kids' language skills, decreases risky behaviors, and increases emotional bonds. All of which we need to be doing right now. We might have the need for less therapists and counselors, even though I love them. Wouldn't that be nice? Not to have to send your 5-year-old or 10-year-old to a counselor or a therapist because they're so anxious about what is or isn't happening due to their social media, the likes, all of this stuff. It's a big deal. And they don't even have to be on social media. They could be watching YouTube. These little kiddos, they know what the like and subscribe and all that is. Why? Because it's wired in how the creators do it. Now, I'm not blaming the creators. Hang on here. I am a creative, right? I come in it as my podcast episode. So I'm trusting that the person on the other side is of sound mind and taking everything into account. But you see, our kids are not old enough yet. They're not mature enough. And even when they're in their 20s, they're still maturing in their brain. They haven't reached their peak yet. And you wonder why we should have concern. Yeah. So let's help them. Let's encourage them. Number 2, model real conversations. Not just this half-measured stuff, right? Kids mimic what they see. So make your communications count. If you can, call them more than you text them. Seriously. Now, I get it. Sometimes texting is better. There's a time and a place for that. When they're present with you, in front of you, put your phone away when someone's speaking. Look at them in the eye. Show kids how to handle a conversation with patience, taking a deep breath, pausing, listening, even during uncomfortable topics. If home is a training ground for how to connect, your child is more likely to carry that skill into school, into their work environment, into their friendships, and eventually into their own life, of which, yes, you no longer have control over, which is very scary, I know. But eventually they do grow up and they do move out, and hopefully they're well prepared and they don't move back. They just come and visit often, right? But, you never know. And finally, number 3, create opportunities for face-to-face socializing outside digital screens. Sign your kids up for team sports, drama clubs, volunteering within the church or community. Have them go out and build a garden with you. Don't do it by yourself, right? There's other group activities that really allow you to have this real human feedback. That's what they need. A study from UCLA showed that social engagement offline promotes better mental health and communication skills than online interactions. So encourage your child to face challenges and conflicts in person to build resilience and conversational agility. I know, that's a lot to say. They need to talk to each other more. Words, verbal communication, not this texting thing. Pick up the phone and have a conversation. Go face to face. If your kids are still living underneath your roof and they have a squabble with a friend, encourage that friend to come over and have a conversation. Not just, why don't you text her? No. Because you can't fill someone's heart. through a text message. You can't give a girl a hug and say, wow, my best friend, I'm so sorry you're going through that. I wish I would have known. Hug. A little heart, I don't care what color it is, doesn't feel the same. You see how this is more than limiting screen time? I don't know if you've noticed in the news recently, I think it was actually 2 days ago, would have been on Wednesday, that the case where they had Meta, which is Facebook, and YouTube, they were held responsible for this girl's situation in her life and the influence that the actual creation of the product did, not the content of it, but the product. I would encourage you to go read, learn about it. I believe total damages were, again, this may have changed, but the last I heard, it was $6 million, and 70% was Meta and 30% was YouTube. So they'll do that accordingly, split it, whatever. I'm sure they'll appeal. And then it's my understanding that TikTok and I think it was Snapchat. Don't quote me on Snapchat, though. I know TikTok was in it. But 2 other companies, social media companies, actually settled and before and didn't go to court like Meta did and YouTube did. So this is real life stuff here. The stuff that we're letting our kids play with, I'm not saying it doesn't bring some good stuff, because let me tell you, I can connect with people around the world. Look at how we're doing it now. It's awesome. But that doesn't mean it's always good. It's more about us learning how to prepare our kids so they can thrive in the world where real human connection isn't optional. They know it's essential. And they know they can do it. They know how to ask for help. They know how to give help. They know how to reach out. They have sentences that actually work. They can express themselves. If you don't teach them to talk, listen, and share without a screen buffering the moment, don't be shocked when they grow into adults who struggle to connect, negotiate, and lead. Because that's exactly what's happening. Exactly. We're creating our own mummies, so to speak. I'm going to use that word instead of the Z word. If you're like, what's the Z word? Well, you figure it out. I just don't want to use it. I don't like that word anyway. I don't like, I guess, really the look of it. I don't watch those kind of movies. But, just imagine them dressed with, I'll just say like toilet paper. And then there's like, the color of things if, you hurt yourself and you got a scratch and stuff's coming off and their arms are usually out walking weird. Okay, you get the picture. Yeah. I don't want to say it because it's not that I don't like it. It's just if little ears are around. And I just don't want to go down that road because that's where we're headed. Our kids deserve more. They deserve better from us. We deserve better. And so as you look at this from a parental point of view, great. But now I want you to look at it from your point of view, as in, what am I doing? Am I spending too much time? Is it time really well spent? Or do I need to be picking up that phone and having conversations because, well, my son is, 5 hours away from me or whatever, 5 states away from me. I just want to hear his voice. Not on a recording. I want to hear his voice. So call him and talk to him. Call your mom. Call your dad. Call someone you love that you haven't talked to. Texting is great, but hearing a voice is different. We're losing that human interaction. And it's not just about our kids, it's about us too. And I'm all for technology. I love technology. I use technology every single day. And it's not going anywhere. AI is not going anywhere. We have to know how to work with it, but we also have to know that we can't lose the human part of who we are. Because nothing can replace that. I don't care if they say, well, a robot can feel this because we'll put it in there. It's not the same. A robot doesn't have a heart. It's not the same. So what will you do to help your kiddos? What will you do to help yourself? Because wouldn't it be cool to actually look at somebody's eyes? Have you seen, your spouse's eyes? I asked you if you had looked at them recently. What color are they? Maybe you haven't looked real recently. Maybe they've changed color. Or if they're hazel, they may have. As we get older, our eyes do change a little bit of color. They may not be as bright of blue. Or if they're brown, they may be more of a golden brown instead of a dark brown. Right? Especially us as women, our hormones change. Our eye color does too. It has fun. So what is it for you? Maybe you need that human connection. It's a big confession day, isn't it? It is. Because when we're talking about the family unit, we are going away from it. Why? Why is it easy to break off relationships? Because they really didn't exist to begin with. Seriously, think about that. And your relationship with your children can be that way. Your relationship with your spouse can be that way. With friends, colleagues, anyone you have interaction with, they can just fall off because there's no real connection, and people want that real connection. So make it today with your family. Start with your kids. Start with yourself. Start with your spouse. Go in peace. Be present. Be incredible. Be you. I love you so very much. I cannot wait to see you on the other side. Blessings, hugs, and lots of love. We'll talk to you real soon. Have a glorious, blessed weekend. Bye-bye.
Feeling inspired, ready to train for life and love your journey? Visit createyournow.com for more incredible resources to help you along the way. We'll see you next time on Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie. And remember, always be sure you consult your physician before beginning any health and fitness plan.